The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Hello and welcome to the Box Score Breakdown with your hosts Neil Rochlani and Adrian Benjamins. On for the first night of the NBA season, 2 games on tap. The first one kicking off in the East, the second one out West. 4 great teams. Adrian, how are you? How excited are you that basketball is back and we are doing our own show?
I can't believe it, Neil. It's like we've been waiting for this day all summer long. It's finally here. Neil, we had a bunch of drafts this weekend. I know you had your home league draft. I also had my home league draft. We had the Hoop Ball staff league draft. Tell me about your drafts, man. Who did you end up with?
I tend to get some of the same players, and then, I ended up with Bradley Beal twice. So I'm only in 3 leagues. I heard you're in like 11 leagues. I listened to today's show. You're in 11 leagues. I have no idea how to manage that. Like, I'm in 3 and I'm freaking out on trying to manage it. I don't know how people like you and all these other hoop ballers are in so many leagues and don't just break down. Like, I have a nervous breakdown trying to manage your teams all season. Anyway, 3 is plenty for me. Go ahead.
So I was doing 6, maybe 7 before this season, and I added 4. And, I felt like I had a really good handle on 6 leagues, but I'll be honest with you, Neil. I feel like I might be a little bit in over my head on 11 leagues because, I thought about it, and let's say there's a guy that you need to run to grab. Where am I going first? You know what I mean? Am I going to my home league? Am I going to Hoop Ball staff league? Am I going to my big money leagues? And so, you know what? Setting up my lineup when I woke up today was tough because some of my leagues are weekly, some of my leagues are daily. Trying to keep track of it all, I think I'm capped out right now. Like, I can't add this. And in fact, I may need to cut back on 1 or 2 leagues next season. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I'm going to try to figure out how to do 3 this year. I did 3 last year, and that was a challenge. We'll see. I'm in 2 head-to-head, 1 roto. I was going to say, just don't add the guy in the league we're in against each other. That's what I recommend. Saving that one to last and just letting me know. You sniped one of my pickups in that league, by the way. I wanted Josh Jackson.
Josh Jackson.
Yes, I put that bid in. I didn't even know he was still there.
Wait, how did I get the bid and you not get the bid? Because I think I was last in the waiver priority.
I have no idea. It just said that I didn't get it. So that's
wow.
I know.
How was that? That somebody dropped Josh Jackson, by the way.
Yeah, I don't understand it because he's gonna start and we'll see how he does. You can always drop. It's a 14-team league, so I think he's worth owning just to see how it starts off. Unless he's a train wreck, you might be able to ride him for a while. Yeah, I really wanted him. I wanted to pick him up.
He's owned in all my 12-team leagues. So when I looked on the wire and saw him, I had to do a double take. I was like, wait, somebody dropped Josh Jackson, put my claim in. I don't know how I got you. You know what? You must have been in last because I had I was 12 out of 14 on the waiver wire priority.
I think I was.
So you must have been
14 out of 14.
Yeah,
I was last.
Crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to drafts real quick. I got Jeremy Lamb in all 3 of my leagues. He's someone
nice.
I'm targeting this year, so I got him. I got the first pick in 2 of my 3 leagues somehow. So Anthony Davis in 2 of my 3 leagues. I know. I heard you talking today about how you got a lot of late round picks. I was first and third. Excuse me. So I got Karl Anthony Towns in the other one. I don't think I'm well balanced in my roto league. I'm trying to balance that out. Already made a trade, and then in my head-to-head leagues, I think I'm applying a roto strategy. I think I'm gonna have to trade to win this, or at least to be more competitive. So I'm still figuring that out. How do you feel about your drafts?
I feel pretty good about my drafts. I feel like though in all my leagues, I don't have the strongest team, but I really like my team. I usually do some pretty good work off the wire during the season. So, I took a lot of risks. Guys like Kyle Anderson. I own a lot of Jonathan Isaac. I got JJJ in a few leagues. there's some big question marks on these guys. So I need these guys to pan out. So, I definitely didn't go the safe route. I took risks. So I need those risks to pan out here for me to have a really good season. But I feel good about my team. I like the guys on my team, which always usually means I have a lot of fun. And hopefully I can do some nice work off the wire.
Yeah, that's always a key. I always feel like I need at least one good pickup for my team to be good. I have to hit at least one late round draft pick, if not more, and have at least one good pickup, and then not blow my draft. And then I have a pretty good chance at placing in one of my leagues. So we only have one game so far that is completed at the time that we're talking right now. You said you had some thoughts on some not transactions. You said some before we got on the air here. You mentioned lineup news, right?
Yeah. So before we started, I was searching for anything like relevant as far as news and notes. And, one of the things that stood out to me, Neil, is the New York Knicks have confirmed their starting lineup of Trey Burke, Tim Hardaway Jr., Frank Ntilikina, Lance Thomas, and Enes Kanter. And Neil, to me, this was big news, man. Another guy I drafted and that I own quite a few shares of is Mario Hezonja. I really hate that he's not getting the start here. I don't trust to play him right off the bat. I got to wait and see, how many minutes is he going to get. Another guy that I think a lot of people will be disappointed to hear this news. A lot of people drafted Kevin Knox. And I think for sure, without a doubt, we will see Kevin Knox start at some point, but very disappointing to see Frank Ntilikina starting at small forward and Lance Thomas, the power forward. I mean, come on, man. Let's just turn this over to the kids and, let Hezonja and let Knox go, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I had heard Knox was going to be the starter. I guess they changed their mind. I mean, like a week or two ago, I thought I saw a report on that. So I'm surprised he's not in there. I did take a flyer on Trey Burke in one of my leagues just to see what he does or does not do in the first week or first few games. And I'm glad he got the start. So I got kind of lucky there. We'll see how that plays out. Ntilikina, I don't think got drafted in any of my leagues. Is he someone you think is worthwhile to pick up now, or do you think you're just going to wait and see and put him on a watch list?
I think if you're in a 12-team or deeper league, I think you might just go ahead and grab Ntilikina and see how this works out. It's real interesting that they're playing him out of position. And, he's shown he can provide some nice defensive stats with steals. So I think he's really interesting. But for shallower leagues, I think let's just take a wait and see approach here.
Yeah, so I think I might pick him up already tonight just because if he goes off tomorrow, it's going to be so hard to get him, right? It's one of these things that if you wait one day too late, you have to pay way more for him. So if he's still, if you have someone who you can drop, and for me, that might be someone who played tonight. We'll talk about that later, a little foreshadowing. And because I'm a little nervous about him, I might just take a flyer in Ntilikina. So other news from the lineups that you want to discuss?
One other interesting thing, not too sure what to make of it. Phoenix Suns announced that Isaiah Canaan is getting the start at point guard. We didn't know what was going to happen here because we thought they still could add a point guard during the preseason. They did add Jamal Crawford, which is very interesting because we've seen him in the past with the Los Angeles Clippers and with other teams. We've seen him handle the ball, bring the ball up the court. So it's quite possible that Jamal Crawford can be playing some point guard as well. But, I really had my eye on this backcourt situation. I own in deep leagues, especially dynasty leagues, I own Eli Okobo and DeAnthony Melton. So I was really hoping one of these rookies could kind of emerge as the guy. I don't trust Canaan at all, so I don't think we're rushing out to get him. Also, too, Devin Booker is supposed to play, which was really surprising. I thought he could miss some of the beginning of the season, so it sounds like he's good to go. We've seen Devin Booker handle the ball as well. He can play point guard too. So we're not rushing out to grab any of the rookies. Kanan, even Jamal Crawford. I would take a wait and see approach there unless you're in a really deep league. What do you think, Neil?
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to touch any of those players. Everything in Phoenix runs through Booker, even if he's a shooting guard in name. He handles everything. He's so ball dominant. I don't think Isaiah is going to put up fantasy value. Well, he might like in 14-team leagues. But, yeah, 12-team leagues I'd probably hold off on. And then do you what was I going to say? There was something you said on today's show I wanted to ask you, but now I forgot. So sorry. I'm spacing. Yeah, I really enjoyed listening to you guys. I felt like you got the band back together, and thank you for the kind words you said about me on the show. It was really great to listen to.
I mean it, man. I'm excited to do this show with you, and I always enjoy talking to you, man. I feel like we got a good connection, and we got a good thing going here. So it's gonna be a great season, man. It's gonna be a fun season.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And I'll get to talk to you every damn night. So this is
you're gonna get sick of me, man. Like by in 2 more weeks, you're not even gonna ask me how I'm doing because you're gonna be like, I just talked to you a few hours ago. I don't need to know how you're doing.
Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna be tired every time. So this show, I'm in Chicago. I'm gonna be tired. So I am relying on you to wake me up, and that is gonna be a very easy task given your nature. So that won't be a problem, man, because I'll definitely be bringing some positive energy. And should we get in this game today, Neil? First game of the season right now. Yeah, game 1.
Are you ready to do this?
Yeah. You ready to do it? You want to start off with Philadelphia?
Let's start with Philly, and we got to start with Embiid, right? 23 points, 2 blocks, a steal, 2 assists, 10 rebounds, played 37 minutes, a really nice usage with the 21 shots, but only made 9. He made a 3, 1 of 4 from downtown, 4 of 5 from the line. Now the 5 turnovers kind of hurt, but can't complain with this game from Embiid. First game of the season. Love that. Ben Simmons, 19 points, 2 blocks, 4 steals, 8 assists, 15 rebounds. Man, flirted with the triple-double, a monster triple-double here. Pretty good. Now, the bad thing is 5 of 11 from the free throw line. We know that's going to be an issue. 7 of 14 from the field's okay. Of course, didn't add a 3. Played a whopping 43 minutes. So this is a pretty good start here for Simmons. Neil, one guy I was really worried about is Robert Covington. And, I think we should start at the beginning of preseason. I made a speech about how, hey, let's take these games with a grain of salt. And I got to have the same feeling. We see some weird stuff happen the very first week of the season. So let's not completely overreact to what's going on. But, Neil, Robert Covington was the guy that I was fading everywhere. And this is why. He had 8 points, 2 steals, which is nice, 6 rebounds. He shot 3 of 10. He played 34 minutes. I think we're going to see a lot of games like this from Robert Covington. A bad field goal percentage here. The scoring's going to be right about here because he's really just like a 3rd or 4th option for this team. We don't even have Wilson Chandler in this rotation yet as well. So I'm really glad that I was able to avoid Robert Covington. Don't get me wrong. We are going to see better games than this, but I think we're seeing his floor right here. Markelle Fultz, 5 points, 2 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 of 7 from the field, 1 of 2 from the line, didn't have a 3, only played 24 minutes. Neil, I'm starting to get a little worried about Fultz. Again, let's not overreact first game, but he didn't start the second half, came off the bench, wasn't even the first guy off the bench when they brought in the reserves. So this is a little concerning to me here. Ben Simmons is the main ball handler. I think we may have been a little bit too high on Markelle Fultz. And then lastly, Redick with a nice game, 16 points. Not too much else to talk about here. Saric a little disappointing with 6 points, 6 rebounds, was 3-8 from the field. Neil, what do you think of the Sixers?
Yeah, so I have a few comments or a few things that I'm taking away, and it might be overreaction Tuesday, as they say, game one. But okay, let's go down. Let's go with like the stars first. Joel Embiid, 37 minutes. Ben Simmons, 43 minutes. This was great to see that they're going to be playing these high minutes. Both had in terms of category counting numbers, they were both very good. So the one concern with Embiid is his turnovers, right? 5 turnovers. If you're in an ICAT league, that's probably the reason he's going to stay out of the first round value. And then he shot 21, only made 9. Other than that, though, obviously he's a beast. Ben Simmons, unfortunately, there's 3 categories where he's going to hurt you. The free throw is just horrible. 5 for 11, doesn't take a 3, and 3 turnovers. Not killer, but not great. So everything else, though, like you said, is dominant. So that's going to keep him. I know he's getting drafted in the second round. I don't think he ends up with second round value in a 9 cap because of those 3 categories. And then finally, moving on to Covington. Yeah, both you and I were hesitant on this year because of the addition of Wilson Chandler, the addition of Markelle Fultz playing. Covington, although they need him on the court. So the one reason I'm not panicking is he did play 34 minutes, which is a great number. What does scare me is he took 10 shots and 7 from 3. And he has streaks where he can shoot horribly for a while. And tonight was one of those nights. This 3 of 10. So you're going to get a very mediocre line when he's not shooting well. And like you said, Wilson Chandler is going to come in and take some of those shots away from him. Right now, it looks like he's just a guy who's going to play defense and spread the floor. And they have another guy who can do that. But I'm not bailing on him yet. Saric, a little worried about him. Just 23 minutes. Again, you never want to make a move in desperation, so just maybe chalking this up to a bad matchup, and then or a bad game, something like that. And then the last one was who was there someone else you talked about? Oh, Markelle Fultz. Okay, so we had talked in the preseason. You told me he was starting, and you had started taking chances on him in your leagues. I drafted him in one league. I am now going to cut bait with him after one game. I know that sounds kind of crazy. He's in a 12-team league. I think because of his free throw percentage and field goal percentage, and I'm worried about turnovers, I don't think he's going to be inside the top 100 unless things radically change. And I'm willing to take a risk on someone like Ntilikina right now over him. So that was that's my takeaway from the Sixers.
I agree with you, Neil, and that's really tough for me to say because during the preseason, I had really high hopes for Fultz, but I think right here, this could be really similar to what we see the majority of the time, this line right here. And if that's the case, man, I think, you could do better. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I agree. I'm really disappointed. I'm gonna likely still hold him where I got him because I have him. They're mostly deeper leagues, but yeah, I'm definitely worried. I'm very worried. And as we said, man, Wilson Chandler not here. Muscala didn't play. Bayless didn't play. Their rookie Smith didn't play in this game, so they don't even really have their full rotation going. And so I don't know, but again, let's not overreact too much. They were playing who I think is going to be the best team in the Eastern Conference as well. So let's wait and see what happens here, but definitely a little concerning if you own Covington and Fultz and maybe Saric, but I think Saric might be okay.
All right. Should I?
What do you think? Should we head over to the Celtics side? Why don't you lead us in?
Yeah, well, the one thing just to reiterate with Fultz, only took 7 shots. Obviously, that's probably going to change. It's very first game in the spotlight against, like you said, the best team in the East, maybe the best defensive team, one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. So clearly, it's not. He's going to have much better nights against lesser competition, but I'm just worried about some of those stat lines to feel like he can be a contributor in a 12-team league right now. I'd rather take a chance on someone else who hasn't started yet just to see if they pop. Okay, I'll start with the Celtics, and well, this was an interesting line. Kyrie Irving, 29 minutes, 7 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, just 2 of 14 shooting. My gosh, that's scary. 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 1 of 8 from 3. No defensive stats, 3 turnovers. Jason Tatum. First of all, let's note no one played 30. No one played 30 minutes. No, Horford played 30 minutes. Everyone else was under 30 minutes. And when you and I had talked about the concern with the low minutes on the Celtics, even against a great team in the East, they went low minutes. So this is probably going to be a thing, what's going to come in the future. Tatum, 29 minutes, 23 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. Much better shooting, 9 for 17. 1 3-pointer, 4 from 5 from the free throw line and a steal. Gordon Hayward. I'm trying to go in order of talent. I don't know if I'm going in the right order. Gordon Hayward, 25 minutes, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 0 assists. I own him in one league. I'm a little frustrated. Did get 4 steals, so that's great. Horford, 30 minutes, just 9 points. Usually doesn't score that much, though. Just 4 rebounds. That's disappointing. 2 assists. That's disappointing. 5 blocks, though. That's amazing. So, and then Jaylen Brown had a solid night. He's such a great real-life NBA player. Too bad, fantasy-wise, doesn't usually jump out. Tonight, though, 12 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 of 13 shooting, 1 3-pointer, no defensive stats. And then Scary Terry. What about that guy? Did you see him block Embiid? That was sweet. Okay, I see you nodding your head, so I know you're with me. Had a good line. He was taken in one of my drafts. I don't know if he's in any of your leagues. Markieff Morris had a great night off the bench, double-double with 16 and 10. I'm going to get your thoughts. I feel like I've been speaking forever. Let me get your thoughts on Boston, and then I might hop back on them.
First of all, this team is so deep, Neil. I mean, Rozier off the bench, Smart played 25 minutes off the bench, Morris 20 minutes off the bench, Baines played almost 20 minutes off the bench. This team is going to go all the way for sure. But let me get into my thoughts on the box score. Tatum. I may have been a little too low on Tatum. What an amazing game he had with the 23 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. He's just so good. And, I was really worried about all the depth and how we talked about how the minutes might be limited because they're just so deep. I just talked about all the guys coming off the bench. It doesn't matter, man. Tatum he's too good to be stopped. So I wish I was a little higher on Tatum. Neil, you mentioned Gordon Hayward, and I want to note that Gordon Hayward's on a minutes limit right now. And maybe also, too, that's another reason why I need to pump the brakes on the Tatum love. I think when Hayward's minutes ramp back up, I think we could see Tatum take a little dip. But I'm not worried about Kyrie Irving. The shot wasn't falling tonight. Real ugly game. Was also 1 of 8 from downtown. But I'm not worried about Kyrie. Shaking the rust off of missing all that time last year. He'll be just fine. Horford, I'm a little worried about. The 5 blocks is amazing. It's beautiful, but I feel like that's kind of an anomaly. I don't feel like we're going to get 5 blocks from him, close to 5 blocks from him every game. And I think the scoring is going to be right around what we saw tonight with the 9 points, 2 assists, 4 rebounds. So, this scares me a little bit, Neil. If he didn't get those 5 blocks tonight, this would be a pretty ho-hum type of night. And I think we're going to see a lot of that from him this season. So I'm a little worried about Horford. Real quick, I got to go back to Scary Terry. I think this guy needs to get picked up in 12 teams or deeper leagues. 27 minutes. He's got a roll off the bench. And, man, I feel like he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. He gets asked a lot, like, how's it like coming off the bench behind Kyrie? And I think he feels like he's good enough to be a starter in this league. And anytime he comes in the game, it's like he's out there to prove it. I think this guy needs to be owned in 12-team or deeper leagues, man. I think we're going to see some great games for him. Neil, any closing thoughts on the Celtics?
Yeah, the one thing I would just mention is, I guess if you were hoping for these Boston guys to get high minutes, I guess it's not going to work. I did pick up Hayward in one of my leagues. Like you said, as he gets more acclimated and back into the flow of the game, I'm sure his stats will improve a little bit, and maybe Tatum's comes down a little bit. I am very impressed with Tatum still. I don't know why I'm shocked. He played so great last year and into the playoffs. Some people think he's the best player on that team. I have one question for you, though. So the one thing that I'm curious about is, would you pick up Marcus Morris?
No, I would not pick up Marcus Morris. If he's going to play minutes in the 20 range, there's going to be nights where it's not there. And those nights, man, he could give you close to a goose egg. Now, tonight was great. He took 12 shots tonight, which means he got some really nice usage tonight. 16 points, 10 rebounds, 2 steals. But I mean, this is like his ceiling in 20 minutes. So if we see his floor in 20 minutes, it's not going to be good. Historically, he's a guy who needs a lot of volume to have good fantasy production. And I just don't see him getting high volume every night in 20 minutes. Neil, the other thing is really interesting is, and which is another reason that supports why we were really worried about the Celtics. Look at the shots. It was really evenly it was really like evenly spread out. Kyrie took 14. Tatum took 17. Brown took 13. Hayward took 12. Rozier took 10. Morris took 12. It's like there's no alpha dog on this team. It's like spread out really evenly here. So it was one of the things that I'm worried about, man, is yes, tonight it was Tatum. Tomorrow, maybe it's Jaylen Brown. Maybe the next night it's Gordon Hayward. And the other guys kind of take somewhat of a back seat. So this is what I was worried. But I really do like what I saw from Tatum, man. Just so good. He's so talented. And again, I'm not worried about Kyrie. If that shot was falling, this would have been a great game from Kyrie. What do you think?
Yeah, fair enough. Nothing to be too concerned about from the starters. Unlike like what you said, may not be a lot of high scorers on this team. Tatum and Kyrie might get there, but the other guys may not get close to 20. And same with Marcus Morris. I agree with you. With only 20 minutes, that's my main parameter for him to try to evaluate him. On 20 minutes, he did have a great night tonight, fantasy-wise, but that seems to be an outlier for someone who plays so little minutes on a team that shares the ball and plays, real team basketball. So I've got nothing else on Boston. All right, we are now going to look at the second game of the evening. I am solo, so no Adrian Benjamins to help me with this one, but let's go through the nightcap. Oklahoma City versus Golden State. Oklahoma City hung in there. Gallant effort, losing 108-100. Easily covered the spread for those of you who are bettors. Anyway, looking at the Oklahoma City stat line, starting five: Patterson, George, Adams, Schroeder, and Terrence Ferguson. Hung in there with a nice effort from Paul George, 37 minutes, 27 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 9 of 24, though. And this is something that concerns me about him in fantasy this year. He's going to take a lot of shots. Last year's shot just about 43%. Can be a drag on that percentage if you don't have other players who can counterbalance. If you took someone in the first round who perhaps has a high field goal percent, then you're in good shape. If you did not, hopefully you have players down the rest of your lineup that can balance that. Or maybe you don't care about field goal percentage. Did do well from three-point land, though. Four three-pointers, 4 steals, something we've come to expect from him. Did have 5 turnovers. Not a great start outside from the points and 3-pointers. Should do better, once Russ is back in terms of percentages. Tonight, not a great one. Patterson only played 19 minutes. Does not look like an ad. Only 7 points, 5 rebounds. Stealing a block, 2 for 9 shooting. Steven Adams played big as we expected. 17 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. Shot decently, 6 of 11. Only 5 for 8 from free throw land, though, what we kind of expect from him. No blocks either. 2 steals. His blocks have been coming down over the last couple seasons. Surprised he did not get any tonight. Dennis Schroeder filling in for Russell Westbrook. 34 minutes, 21 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. Bad shooting night, though, 7 of 19. 5 of 6 from the free throw line, 2 of 6 from three-point land, 2 steals and a block. So a pretty good line for someone who you filled in for him. And will be serviceable up until Russell comes back, and we'll see what he does once Russ is back. Certainly nothing close to this in terms of the rebounds and points, but he may be able to be somewhat of value. We'll see. Terrence Ferguson, no points, starting at shooting guard. So I can pass him up. And then looking down the line at the bench roles, Jeremy Grant played 29 minutes. Alex Abrinas, 23 minutes. The only other two relevant players, really. Jeremy Grant, just 7 points on 7 shots, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 blocks. This guy can get blocks. He can get defensive stats. Not sure, though, you want to sacrifice every single other category, though, for him. For a big man, horrible field goal percentage, 2 of 7. Free throw percentage, 2 of 4. 50% there. So to take 4 3-pointers, not sure I would pick him up. Same with Alex Abrinas, 3 for 8. 8 points on 8 shots. Again, not very efficient. 2 rebounds, just 1 assist. No defensive stats, and not much else. So I think the takeaway from Oklahoma City, from my perspective, is that Patterson not worth picking up. This was sort of our best opportunity to see what some of these role players could do without Westbrook. And tonight, not much there. We knew George would have a lot of points, take the bulk of the shots, 24. Schroeder took 19. Adams took 11. No one else got into double digits in shots. No one else really produced anything worthy of fantasy value. So if Schroeder's still there, he's probably taken in your league. If not, pick him up till Russ comes back, and then see what he does when Russ is out. Once Russ is back, and see if he's still valuable. All right, moving over to the Golden State side. Big nights from Durant and Curry on the ring ceremony night. Curry almost went... he played 37 minutes. Durant played 38. I did not expect this. And Klay Thompson played 35. I thought they would go a little more deeper into their bench and not play their guys so many minutes. It was a much more competitive game than was expected. Which I don't think is a sign of anything, except that if you do own Curry and Durant, it's good to see them play this many. Well, you probably don't want them to play this many minutes, but 37 minutes, 38 minutes, certainly, it's a good sign they're not going to play less than 30. Curry, 32 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, 11 of 20 shooting, 5 of 5 from 3 points, from the free throw, 5 3-pointers, 1 steal, just 3 turnovers. Monster night. Durant, pretty solid as well. 27 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. Shooting not a great night from the field. 9 of 21, but did shoot 9 of 10 from the free throw line. Missed all the 3-pointers. Did get 2 blocks, something that he has developed since being in Golden State, and a steal. So fantastic line. The other 2 big players on their team. Go to Klay Thompson first. Played 35 minutes, 14 points, 4 rebounds. Just an off night shooting, 5 of 20. Not something that I would expect going forward. 3 from 3 from the free throw line. Just 1 of 8 from 3-pointers. And 1 steal. No blocks. 3 turnovers. No assists either. I know you don't expect much from Klay except from points and efficiency and 3-pointers and good free throw percentage. You don't expect him to really do much on the defensive end. I mean, maybe he does okay on the defensive end and picks up some rebounds here and there and some assists, but tonight, not really involved with that part of the game. Draymond Green, someone you do expect to sort of kind of flirt with a triple-double. Get the rebounds, get the assists, get the points, somewhere around 10. Tonight, just 2 points, though. 1 of 6 shooting, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, though, no blocks, 6 turnovers, though. So the 9-cat did not have a good night. Nothing you can really do here. We know Draymond's sort of like a 2nd to 3rd round player. Klay's more in the 3rd to 4th round. Both those guys had just an off night, while Curry and Durant were hot. The one takeaway, Damian Jones did start at center, 27 minutes, 12.3 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 6 of 7 from the field, and 3 blocks. Someone who I think is worth a speculative ad. Surprised he only got 3 rebounds for the center position. But this field goal percentage, 6 of 7, if he's just going to get a lot of dunks at the rim, playing pick and roll with Steph and just having no issues scoring the basketball and then getting 3 blocks. If he can get a couple blocks a night and 6 for 7 and shoot, 60% on low volume, he might be worth an ad. I would expect his rebounds to go up. We'll see. He's someone you would have to have someone you'd want to drop. And I'm not sure, with so much usage going to the Big Four and Golden State, it's going to be hard to predict. So only if you have someone on your team who you know is not good, speculate with him. Kevon Looney, 18 minutes, 10 points, 10 rebounds, finished the game, 2 assists, 5 of 12, 1 steal and 2 blocks. For a big man, I don't like that field goal percentage of 5 of 12. I do like the fact he took 12 shots, though. He could have easily gone for like 15 and 10 if he had a better night shooting with 2 blocks and a steal, and that would be and only 1 turnover. So that would be someone who would be worth picking up as well if you have someone you can drop. I don't recommend dropping someone who you think has potential for the top 100 value for these two guys just yet. But if you have someone on your team who is like, you just think, for example, I had Markelle Fultz on my team. I dropped him right away. I just think due to his turnovers and percentages, he's not going to be worth it, especially in a rotisserie league. And so I took a speculative add on a different person. For me, that was James Ennis of Houston. I realized I might need some steals and some threes, so we'll see how that works out. I may end up dropping him tomorrow night after that first game, so we'll see. But anyway, 2 guys who, if you need blocks and field goal percent, Kevon Looney and Damian Jones, worth it only if you have someone you can drop. Other than that, I would not do it. That is my take on these 2 games, and with that, I will see you back here tomorrow. Thanks for listening. Oh, once again, please follow myself and Adrian on Twitter if you haven't already done so. I am at Ball with Neil. He is at Adrian Benjamins. Shoot us those questions. We'd love to not only reply to you on Twitter, but perhaps talk about it on the show itself. So with that, have a good night and see you next time.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.